Just when you think you've conquered the progressive ideology, just when you think the wokeness is gone, the LGBTQ plus movement is over, the trans issues are all abated, no, it rears its ugly head and weeds its way back in. Or it really never went away in the first place, it just wasn't receiving those same headlines. But here we have this truly disgusting story out of Massachusetts with Burlington Public Schools actually forcing kids as young as 11 to answer sexually explicit questions on a mandatory test. Now, just to be upfront about this, I'm probably going to have to bleep out a whole bunch of stuff just to be YouTube friendly, but let's go ahead and get this information out there.
I am here on behalf of my son and a group of other mothers who also have special needs children like mine. And I speak for all of them when I say that we have completely lost our trust in the Burlington public school system. My son came home last week, clearly shaken up, and asked me to privately talk to me. He said, "Mom, we took a test today at school, but the questions were really weird. I didn't know how to answer them. I didn't want to take the test, but my teachers made me." It wasn't until I saw the questions posted on Facebook that I understood what he was talking about. This was a calculated and deliberate attack on our children's innocence and denial of our parental right to protect our minor children. With this survey, you have exposed our innocent children to mental. This is grooming and downright assault on our children. You have corrupted their innocent minds by exposing them to explicit acts that most adults would not even tolerate being asked about. Not only were they asked about if they'd ever done any of these things, but you went a step further and described these acts. How dare you step over our parental rights and expose our minor children to these lewd and disgusting acts? We have been protecting our children from the day that they were born, and in one day, you've destroyed all of our work.
So my daughter was asked, have you ever had sexual contact with another person?
I thought
sexual
you
contact. I did. And she told she was opted out, but she was still told the survey was mandatory. So I have screenshots from her. Contacts includes things such as kissing, touching, intercourse. Have you ever had intercourse including vagina, which is when oral, which is contact between the anal, which is when a, in parentheses, but in the use of toys or props.
These things keep happening over and over again, and I'm tired of having to fight for the right of my child and every other child to not have sexual content pushed on them. They're in middle school. Please let them go through puberty without this stuff being pushed on them. Parents are tired of it. I don't like to be up here. I hate this. I hate conflict. But what I hate more is knowing the impact of kids, of this stuff getting pushed on them and normalizing it to them. I was one of those parents who opted my kid out because as soon as I saw it, I said, I don't want my kid taking this. And he took it. And I'm disgusted that he had to answer those questions.
Did he take it?
He didn't. They told him he had to take it and he didn't think anything of it.
I just got a disturbing text while I was sitting in the audience. I opted my son out, my 8th grader out. I opt him out of everything. It's my prerogative. He took it. He said his name wasn't on the list. I just got a text with his name on a list. So it was missed. I'm just kind of processing it now, so I apologize. But it can't happen that way. It can't.
My son was opted out of this survey because clearly my husband read between the lines of the vague paragraph that was sent out on Parent Square during a random Thursday night 2 weeks earlier. But you know what? My son was forced to sit in the class with his friends who were not so lucky. His best friend turned to him and and pointed to a question on the survey and asked my son, "Bro, what's this?" My son said he opened his eyes wide and said, "No idea. Google it." Google it. Now I come from a generation that had to look up everything in the dictionary or the encyclopedia. Most likely, they didn't have actual photos and certainly not videos on the pages. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I was better or perfect, and I'm pretty sure my class is the reason that the bathrooms are locked during bell time. But can you honestly look us in the face and tell me that this survey is appropriate for middle school or even high school? By the way the questions were labeled with the meanings explained in the paragraph before, makes one think you were trying to teach them how to do or use these things.
But I went to practice the other night, the night of the survey, and I hadn't seen my son yet because I didn't come home from work. I went straight from work to his practice. And there were no less than a dozen parents sitting in a circle talking about how horrible this was. And when I showed up, they knew that I'd be of like mind. So we had this discussion. I was terrified. And then I spoke to my son, who was opted out and was told that he had to sit down. So each parent has the same story. We were opted out and it wasn't honored. And this is not the first time. It happens repeatedly over and over and over again. It needs to end. And it's not an oversight. So you can say, well, this wasn't done intentionally. It's been done intentionally, if not by the people sitting in this room, which I have a different opinion on. But again, who are the architects of this thing? And if I do more research than the people that are being paid to do it, that's a problem. And it's not hard to find. These people that are behind this stuff, it's disturbing.
Explain to me what I'm supposed to tell my 11-year-old daughter about sex and sex toys, please. I'll give you the rest of my time.
So one of the worst things about this story, aside from the actual content that the kids are being exposed to, is the simple fact that a lot of these parents opted their kids out of this explicit discussion, of this explicit material being taught or even surveyed to their kids. But guess what they were told? Oh, this is mandatory at the school level, okay? And of course, that's the retort from the school board there. They're all sitting around saying, oh, they could have opted out, and yet all of a sudden the test day comes around, the survey comes out, and guess what? You have to participate in this. And by the way, this is clearly what the leftist progressives want. It's all about indoctrinating. It's all about normalizing. It's all about grooming the children, right? That is what this whole agenda is. They want to get their claws into these kids so they'll be more open to things in the future, okay? That's what the leftist progressive agenda is all about. And by the way, this is not just directed at the youth. It's directed at kids, at young kids with special needs, right? As young as 11. And the last response from the father there was basically perfect, right? You school board, you tell me exactly why my 11-year-old daughter has to be exposed to all of this. Please give me a reason right now. All right. Why is it on the survey? Why are you asking these questions? Why are you defining what these things actually are? And the outrage from these parents here is completely justifiable because all of these topics would never come up in a simple discussion about the birds and the bees or physical development or normal sexual education, okay? But no, in this progressive Massachusetts crap hole that we're living in, they want these kids' minds filled with the worst possible garbage, right? And that, of course, is one of the most damning things there, right? Where the boy turns to his friend and says, what does this mean? I don't know. We'd better Google it. And all of a sudden, what are you going to have? Images, videos, all this explicit material presented to kids who are underage, okay? And yes, I know that as parents, you should have cell phone blockers and internet blockers and all types of things, parental controls and guidance and all that stuff. But not everybody does. And you don't expect the school district to be facilitating this garbage. But it's the same things we've been hearing over and over again for a decade, right? Even at the public school libraries, they have all of this stuff on the shelves ready to be checked out by kids who don't know any better. And all of a sudden, guess what? They're being groomed for some future nefarious purpose. And I can't believe we're still having this conversation in 2025, right? We had this bright spot on the horizon, Donald Trump being elected, all of this wokeness being exposed, people turning against it. But still, in these blue states, in these blue cities, you cannot be a normal person. Please homeschool your kids or move out of these blue bastions of filth and criminality, okay? So thank you very much for watching. I wish it was under better circumstances, but don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and be safe out there, people, because they're coming after you.